to episode 1 of my Hull City career mode on FIFA 13. I've chosen Hull City because they're a middle of the table championship side, doing a lot better than expected at the moment in real life. However, it's a good squad to start with, it's quite balanced, and I'm looking to get into the Champions League after being promoted, hopefully at the end of this season. So, the transfer budget for Hull City is £4.1 million. That could get me maybe 1 or 2 extra players in before the end of the transfer market. This series is going to run for 3 FIFA 13 seasons, and as I've mentioned before, hopefully get into the Premiership this season, and then the season after that, get into and win a European Championship. Here I'm looking at some of the free agents. As I'm sure you all know, the free agents aren't that great at the beginning of the FIFA 13 career mode. However, I find this guy, Avia, making off of him because he's only 22 and rating of 68. He's got a bit of room to grow, and it gives me an extra option up front. Matthew Fryat is Hull City's main striker. He starts the season injured, but he's not really to my taste. His pace isn't that great, and I like someone a bit more agile to be up front. So I'm making a offer for Avia there. And another area of the field I aim to improve is centre-back. Faye, Hull City's main centre-back, is quite old and is retiring at the end of this season, and is also extremely slow. So I am trying to find a replacement. There's quite a few on the list, however a lot of them are over 30, approaching or past their full potentials. That's a shame. We need someone around the 24 to 26 age, just so they've got a little bit of room to grow left, and they can gradually improve. They're not great skill stats for that player. You want someone who's strong and still quite agile with a bit of pace. So you want around the 60s to 70s acceleration, preferably, and at least 80 plus on strength. And here is Moreau for Cole. He's quite a good player. Have a look at the transfer fee. They might want up to 1.7 million, so I offer 1.5 for Moreau. You'll find out if I get him in a moment. Then I'll have a look at some of Hull City's players that I might want to get rid of. Paul McKenna there. Faye, they won't let me sell him as he's retiring. Dawson. He was an absolutely brilliant player for Hull City, especially a few seasons ago. If any of you can remember Hull City in Division 3, gradually getting through into the Championship and promoted into the Premier League 2 years ago. They got relegated, and it looks like this season they might have a good chance of going back up again. But Andy Dawson was instrumental the first time they charged for promotion. He's a really good left back, but past his best. 33, so he goes onto the transfer list. Here I get Avia, a good option up front. And Moreau, they want a little bit more. So I send them that. It's crucial when you start any career mode to make sure that your defence and your forwards are as strong as they can possibly be. Midfielders, you can move them around and see what fits with them, but in terms of defence, it's crucial you have a good or a great centre-back who can really command that area, and I'm hoping Moreau can do that alongside Faye. Midfield for Hull City is quite strong to start with. El Mohamdi, on loan from Sunderland. I believe he's actually signed permanently now, along with Mailer, who is on Hull City's subs bench on the game. And up front, as I was saying earlier, it's important to have a good front line as well. Hull City have got a good front line to start with Jay Simpson and Friat and Prushvitz. I've said I'm not a great fan of Friat. I'm also not a massive fan of Prushvitz either. They're both quite sluggish players on the game, and it's not easy to score with them. However, Jay Simpson does grow to a really good player, high potential. Around and beyond the 80s mark, I believe. So it's worth holding on to him. However, Prushvitz and Friat I will probably try to get rid of at some point. Having a Via in the squad gives me another good pacey option to go up front, and you'll see you can also play him just off the striker in a central attacking midfield or centre forward role, and he does really well. Also, quite a few reserves in the Hull City squad. You'll see them shrink. The amount of players shrink over the coming videos. You don't need that many reserves. I like to keep around. If you have one squad, a backup squad, and then one extra player for each position, I think that's about right. And with having too many players, it's easy for them to get unsettled or unhappy with lack of playing time. So if you've got just enough, you can play all the cup games and all the league games. That's perfect. You don't want unhappy players leaving, especially the youth players that have high potential. Of course, they're not going to get enough game time to start with, especially if you can't loan them out if no one wants them. So it's important to make sure you just keep what you need. This search I'm looking for a left back, and I found a few. I think eventually I go for one of the younger ones. 21, Nilsson. 67, so hopefully a high potential. Make an offer of 490,000 for him. A good player. He turned out to be quite a good player for me. He's quite a pacey player as well, and gets up and down. He's got a good attacking work rate as well as a good defensive work rate. So I'll make an offer for him. So far we've got an offer for a centre back and a left back, and we've also bought a striker, a Via. See Moreau, they accept my offer, and give him a contract, which hopefully he's signed. I need to increase my offer for Nilsson to make sure I get him. Voice went up suddenly there. I could always start singing. Him. I don't know why it's stuck on this screen for so long. One thing that really annoys me about FIFA 13, the loading times are awful. You would think for a game like this, especially when it's in the menus and quite simple layouts, it would be a lot quicker than it is. When you look at some open world games like even driving games like Test Drive Unlimited 2 or Grand Theft Auto, the loading times are a lot quicker than they are for this game, and it's quite hard to understand why, in my opinion. Again, there's a FIFA 13 re-review coming up soon, and you'll hear some of my complaints and compliments of it. But yeah, it's really annoying, these loading screens. So hopefully they'll be sorted out for FIFA 14. I doubt they will though. Of course we can hope. Right. More loading. More loading. More loading. Sorting out my squad now, putting my row at centre back. Formation 4-2-3-1, or 4-5-1 as FIFA refers to it. I think 4-2-3-1 it is really. I'm playing 3 attacking players and a striker, and just 2 deep lying midfielders. There we are. We're Nilsson a contract after the bid is accepted. I'm looking here for a central midfielder. Robert Corrin, great player, but he is getting older, and if I can get rid of him now, I'll get a little bit more money. A Campos there looks like a very good prospect. I mean, it might be worth getting on another career mode, but with my budget, I unfortunately cannot really afford to buy him. Looking through some of the second tier leagues here, this is one of, I think, one of the best ways to look for players. Go for the second leagues of big leagues like the German league, the French league, the Spanish and the Italian leagues, and see what other players they have, because usually they have quite good rating players. For a lower price, Yellow. I made an offer for that again from Cologne, or Cologne, however you want to say it. Bought Nielsen and getting rid of Corrin. So Yellow will slot in the midfielder role. Chelsea and Sanderson Neymar talks, unbelievably realistic of FIFA there, because that happens every week. Again, Robert Corrin, just trying to get a better deal for him, adjusting my budget slightly, and there we go, got your Yellow. Simulating friendly matches, no one really wants to watch them. There will be a game at the end of this video. But there we comfortably win our first friendly, then we play Hearts. Getting rid of Mark Cullen. I believe we lose against Hearts, we do, 2-0. Doesn't really matter. Getting rid of a few more players. And readjusting the budget. The first video of any career mode is always going to be the most boring in the aspect of there's not as much gameplay and loads of menus and boring switching between things. But also the most interesting is you get to see what sort of players you'll be playing with or seeing being played with in the coming videos of the proper matches. Lucas Piathon, if you buy him straight away at the start of career mode, you can easily get him for well under £1 million, and I really suggest you do that, whatever the team you're playing with as a career mode team. It is Lucas Piathon is worth buying. He does fit in as a reserve or as a starting player for any team on the game. I haven't yet seen or heard of a team that he wouldn't fit into for his potential and his unbelievably tiny price. Patrick Bamford as well for Chelsea. It's very cheap at the start of the game. Doesn't have a great potential compared to Piathon, but also extremely cheap. Those of you who won't know, most of you won't know, I am a Chelsea supporter. Not just for the trophies, because we never win anything. Oh wait, Champions League. But Lucas Piathon is a big prospect for us. you don't hear too much about Patrick Bamford, really, but Lucas Piathon definitely worth a purchase. Chief of the team. So we've got an opening cup game here, and hopefully we can win. Sonny Luca, a great player there, passing the ball in field, and it eventually goes forward towards Simpson, and it's a goal early on in the game for Jay Simpson, which makes it 1-0 to Hull against Bristol Rovers. Deflected pass there, makes it 4 to Hull again, and chance to break. Out wide to Aluko, Aluko runs forward, cuts inside, shoots, scores, and it's 2-0. Sonny Aluko with the goal for Hull City. Once more it's Aluko who gets things going out on the wing, comes towards the edge of the area, shoots, scores, and it's 3-0. Easy 3-0 so far. And this time El Mohamdi out wide. And towards Lucas Piathon. Aluko on the edge of the area to Piathon. And Piathon scores a goal to make it 4-0 Hull against Bristol Rovers in our very first cup game. Full time. And we're off to a winning start to our championship season.